Good afternoon and welcome to a blustery Gungahlin Enclosed Oval for National Premier League action. Gungahlin United currently sitting in 6th on the ladder against Monaro Panthers in 3rd. A win for Gunners today will put them within 2 points of the finals. A win for the Panthers today will put them within 4 points of Canberra, Croatia, who also play this afternoon. My name's Russ Gibbs. Joining me at a bustling Gungahlin Enclosed Oval, and we'll tell you why in just a moment, is former Socceroo and Canberra legend Andy Burnell. Andy, how are you going first of all, mate? And thanks for joining us. Yeah, absolutely. You'll be able to see on the field at the moment that there's a lot of school kids down there in dress uniform, and there'll be a heck of a lot of Gungahlin United youth players because it's a very sad occasion for us this afternoon. The match will be preceded by a minute's silence in memory of young Josh Ogans, just 14 years old, who passed away on Friday from a heart failure. We'll mention this before the minute silence as well. He was a much-loved member of the Gungahlin Under-14 National Premier League youth team and a member of Canberra Grammar School. Hence, the whole club, near enough, is out here in his memory, and we'll have this minute silence beforehand. But Andy, 14 years old, it's just horrendous, isn't it? It's something that you can't, you know, you've got kids, I've got kids. It's something that you can't even bear to think about, can you, really? You can say the words, but it just has no meaning, really. It's just a horrible, horrible thing. Yeah, it kind of puts football into perspective, doesn't it? But it also shows what football can do to bring everybody together on such an occasion. And whilst the game is almost meaningless for us at the moment, it will take some precedence a bit closer to kick-off. But for all these youngsters out there and the club, like you said, it's a great turnout for them as well. Just a reminder that across the games today, there is plenty of football on this afternoon. Gungahlin United versus Canberra, Croatia in the Men's Premier League at the AIS. That is a massive game in the scheme of things for the race for the top four and the race for the league title. Results yesterday meaning that the gap at the top is only 3 points now, and it could have been 12 a couple of weeks ago. Women's Premier League will see West Canberra Wanderers against Gungahlin United, Canberra Olympic against Canberra Croatia at Deakin, and Majura versus Gungahlin United. We've also got some action in the Capital Premier League today. Canberra Olympic versus ANU, Gungahlin United versus Canberra White Eagles. We'll keep you across everything that's happening as and when it goes on. This is our feature game, of course. You can't watch any of those matches outside the Premier League games, of course. You can't watch the CPL unless you're at the game, but on the YouTube channel. So, I mean, put on multiple devices and you can watch plenty of games as we go on. Yesterday, Tigers FC narrow 1-0 winners over Queanbeyan City. Got the job done, Marko Milutinovic with the goal. I was at O'Connor Enclosed with Frank Cater, where Gungahlin turned over O'Connor Knights by 2-0. Excellent performance from Gungahlin and a wonderful couple of goals. Isaac Donadell never scored a Premier League goal. 55 attempts, cracked one in the bottom corner from a mile out. Stefan Donadell then got on the score sheet as well. They might have had 5 or 6, Gungahlin, in the end. 2 was enough. And that's put them within a point of O'Connor at the bottom of the table, but more pertinently at the top, Tigers have closed the gap to 3, and Canberra, Croatia, they'll be expected to beat Gungahlin today, but so were their 23s, and their 23s have been absolutely destroyed today. Gungahlin 4, Canberra, Croatia 0 at the AIS. That result today puts the cat amongst the pigeons in the 23s as well, so it's squeaky bum time. you've been involved in football a long time, Andy, at many levels. Tigers' last 2 games, they went to Gungahlin, went down to the Riverina, guts it out, a 2-1 victory. Wasn't at their fluent best, but got the job done 2-1. Look, Monaro tried with a brace yesterday again against another team that, like you say, you call them, they love to go to war. 1-0 result. Marko Milutinovic, the unlikeliest of goal scorers. 2 performances where Ali Effie's team haven't been at their best, and yet they walked away with 6 points. If you're going to be successful, those are the games you need to be winning. I think we're struggling to hear you a little bit here, Andy, but that's okay. We'll put you on through in a moment, trying to figure out what's happening. But if you have just tuned in, you're wondering why there's a lot of kids around. I mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. We're here in the memory of a young 14-year-old Gungahlin United footballer, Josh Ogans, who passed away sadly on Friday, part of the Gungahlin United youth programme at just 14 years of age. And you can see on the pitch members of all the Gungahlin United youth teams. Members of his school, Canberra Grammar School as well, will be welcoming the teams onto the field. In the stands around us, there's some players from Gungahlin United women's first grade as well to our left. And plenty of coaches and family friends as well here for this game between Gungahlin and Monaro Panthers. Sun is out, skies are blue, but this wind is blistering in it, and it's a bit cold, Andy. You put a dappling of snow in the background, it'd feel like an FA Cup first round day, wouldn't it? Try again. Oh, there you go, I've got some audio in my ears. It always reminds me of these blue skies, windy, cold days with a bit of snow, of those games where you'd have a Wealdstone versus Reading in the FA Cup first round, and you never know what might happen. Yeah, not ideal. I'm expecting a hush across the ground. We are expecting the teams out in just a moment or two.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we commence the game today, we pause to remember and honour the life of Josh Ogans, a beloved teammate, a gifted footballer and a cherished member of our GUFC club and the NPL Under-14s boys team. At just 14 years old, Josh's passion for the game was unmatched. He brought energy, joy and a fierce love for his team every time he stepped onto the pitch. Tragically, Josh lost his life last Friday, leaving a void that can never be filled. While Josh may not be running out with the team, he will always be part of this squad, forever in our hearts, our thoughts and our game. We would like to thank the players from GUFC and the students from Canberra Grammar School for coming out to honour Josh's memory and show support for his family and team. Could I ask that you please join us in a minute's silence as we honour his memory. Thank you.
Impeccably observed, as you would expect, in the memory of young Josh Ogans, just 14 years old. He passed away from a heart failure on Friday. The much-loved member of the Gungahlin Under-14s team. You could see in the centre circle there, sombre occasion, but his memory impeccably observed. Let's take a look at the two teams. Andy Burnell starting with Gungahlin United. Aidan Mumford starts in goal. Thomas Robertson, Nicola Trajkovski, Jack Green and Bailey Dickinson will form the back four. Riley Brown and Angus Bailey the holding midfielders. Giancarlo Daddario, Yoshida Shoki, AJ Malaulu in front of them, and Ayumu Kimura, who's been in good form, leading the line. On the bench, William McCloskey, a return for Julian Smith, the big centre-back, Jaden Rippon, Samuel Hine, the goalkeeper, and Fabian Oliveres in line for a debut. Across the way, Monaro Panthers will start with Gary Memitage in goal. Marco Gar, Dylan Deep-Jones, Fernando and Sam Rosbach in the back four. Ryan Straub and Zach McLaren continue their partnership in midfield. Conor Minott-Smith pulling the strings in front of them. Up top for Keddy Mandel on the right. Christian Kreskas on the left. Daniel Ballack returns down the middle for the 199th time in the National Premier League. Up top, Heath Illich, Stephen Dominici, Nikos Galfas, Max Malik and Giuseppe Tyne are the substitutes. Two really good sides, Andy, but first of all, just to bring you in on that minute silence, impeccably observed. So we've got no audio at all. None from Andy. Is that song mine? 1 2 1 2 1 2. Is that Andy? Andy's levels? Well, that's you, Andy. Or is that me? That's me. That's you. Let's pump you up, mate. Just pump you up as loud as we can. Can you pick him up on the ambient? Crank it, mate. Well, we're struggling with Andy. We'll get very close here, Andy. Maybe you can use this one as well. If you wait 1 second, as the ball's over the top. First one for chase through. understand we got a few audio issues with Andy's headset today, so we're going to try and see if this works. Talk to me, Andy.
We're going to try and share.
We're going to try and share.
Yeah, back to what I was saying before. Sad but beautiful minute silence for Josh. Took me back to a teammate of mine many years ago, Peter Desmond, down south, passed away in 14, 15, and still remember him today, and I'm sure Josh will live in the memory of his friends, teammates, and club for eternity, for a long, long time.
First touch of the ball for Dylan Deep Jones, sends it long looking for Balach. Green's won the header. All fall for Angus Bailey in the middle of the park. Midfield battle with Zach McLaren will be very important today. Thomas Robertson, who was in super form last week. A couple of goals and an assist to his name. Teams have met 23 times in the NPL. Gunners of 11 wins. Panthers 5, 7 draws. In total, in 23 NPL games, there have been 80 goals scored. Gunners have scored 42. Panthers 48. So we're not expecting 0-0. 10 games as Gunners home games. Gunners have won 6. Panthers 2. There's been a couple of draws as well. But we're expecting a decent game today.
What do you think, mate?
We're going to try and hold it like this and see if this works any better for you up there. Is that any good? Talk to me, Andy.
Okay. We're still playing around with this microphone, and hopefully we'll fix the problem at the early stages of this match. But for now, we'll try it this way. Ross and I are sharing, so let's go.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It's not ideal. We'll lollipop in between the two with the headset, which is unusual for us, but might be able to hook the ambient mic off for you later, Andy. Free kick goes the way of Gunners in this first instance. Nick Tchaikovsky will take. I can hear you, then hopefully that'll echo in my ears a bit, and that'll work. We'll see how we go. Anyway, long ball forward. Looks like there's a change in the Gungahlin lineup here. William McCloskey has been selected into the team at right back, it would seem. Just see where the change is, because Bailey Dickinson's there as well. So right at the end, just before we got here, they've made a change. It must have been in the warm-up. Or a Monaro win would put them right on the coattails of the Tigers.
They'll have to play for today. It's a B-League Champions League squad, is that correct?
Yeah. Well, if you win the league, you get the opportunity to play up in that grade. I'm just looking through. I think Riley Brown is the one that's missed out here for Gunners, and we'll just confirm that for you. It's all a little bit changed around. He must have been injured in the warm-up because he was in our lineup. He's now not there. Bailey Dickinson's gone to midfield. William McCloskey rather, has come in to the side. And there's a change on the bench where he was. Thomas Barbatano, who scored in the reserves, has got a call up. So there we go. That's fixed that up right at the very end. Couple of technical issues, couple of team issues, but on a day like today I don't think it really matters. Rose backing into the middle, Bailey's back there to help out. Shockey goes down under the challenge of Fakedi Manda, the former O'Connor Knights player. And Jack Green will be able to line up the latest free kick. Very experienced goalkeeper Aidan Mumford. Here's Tchaikovsky. As a reminder, we'll keep you across everything else that's happening in the games elsewhere, CPL and Premier League. Robertson from defence skips away from Kreskus. Might break here for Kimura, and they'll get themselves the first corner of the game, Andy.
cautious of each other. Just the pace that they're playing at. They move the ball around a little bit.
Yoshida Shoki will take it. Plenty of shirts in the middle to hit. Jack Green's come up from the back. Bailey's in there too as well. It's swung towards the far post. Strajkovski was a target. It's away by the Panthers, and Fakedi Manda can spring something on the counter here. Bailey Dickinson back. Oh, and Aidan Mumford came to help. He's going to get away with it. Hard in mouth time for a moment. Kreskas. Manda taking on Bailey Dickinson, finding Rosebakken, who's kept it in well. Away from Malolu, back for Manda to deliver into the box. Green away. And Malolu can't keep it in. The young Samoan scored his first goal in the Premier League in the win over Connor Knights last week. Ryan Straub had a pop, played his 50th NPL game last week. Ryan Straub got 1 goal to his name. Here's Strajkovski, Daddario, a bit of a loose one. Daniel Badac will pick it up. Kreskas for the Panthers. Dylan Deep Jones wearing the captain's armbands once more. There was a lightning fast start to the under-23s game here. There was 2 goals in the first 4 minutes. Panthers scored after 3. Gungahlin equalised less than 60 seconds later. Monaro went on to win 2-1. Not quite the same fireworks at the beginning of this one. Deep Jones for Manda. Lovely first touch to find Rosebakken. 2 to hit in the middle. Badac was one of them. Strajkovski got rid of it, and Shoki helps it away.
Good clearance in the end too, but good work from Monaro. They started well. Both sides. We'll see how it ends up though.
Well, that sounds a bit better in my ears. I don't know whether that's fixed it, mate. Put them on. We'll see how we go. That sounds a bit better.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's fixed. We'll see. Foul throw against Sam Rosebakken here, I think. Not often you see that at this level.
I think we're back to normal with this headset, Russ.
No, I think we are back to normal. There we go. We're okay. You're just a bit loud, are you?
It is a little bit loud. It sounds like I'm surrounded by 50, 60,000 people.
Yeah, the ambient needs to go down a bit, I think, to be honest. There's been a couple of goals at the AIS already. I'll tell you about them in a moment. As Fakedi Manda looks to take on and find Straub. The delivery in towards the far post. Kreskas rose high. 2 goals at the AIS in the first 10 minutes or so. Both of them to Canberra, Croatia. Tuggeranong United 0, Canberra, Croatia 2 already in the Premier League over there. Not the best of starts from Mitch Stevens' side, is it?
That doesn't look like it's going to end up
2 goals in a minute for
too nicely for Tuggeranong.
Long way back for them this afternoon.
I just wonder how they've set up the cup match. I thought Mitch, and again I think Mitch is a good coach. I thought
Guy is in behind here for the Panthers. We'll check back and looking to pull it back into the middle. Connor Minot-Smith with the shots.
Gungahlin on the attack here, Ross.
Brilliant from Kimura. Cuts inside. Kimura forces the save from Memitage. And we have yet another corner kick. That's a bit better. Can hear myself think now.
Still 2-0.
Yeah, not a great thing when you can't hear yourself think, is it?
No.
Not ideal for both of us.
I think we're okay now.
I think we are. I mean, we'll get on with it, but it's fine. It's been a goal at Majura Ainsley. Tuggeranong United lead in the Women's National Premier League. Majura 0, Tuggeranong United 1. Yoshida Shoki over the set piece for the Gunners. plenty of black and white shirts in the middle. Kreskus with their header. Now Manda loves these situations to break away. Plenty of open grass. Pass wasn't good enough though. Apparently I'm getting messages from the viewers saying we're nice and clear now, Andy, so that's great news.
Okay.
I'm assuming everyone would have heard what we were talking about in the beforehand about the youngster Josh Ogans, who passed away at 14 years old from the Gungahlin National Premier Youth League team. That's why we had the minute silence. That's why we kicked off a little bit late today. On this occasion, we don't mind.
Oh, I think we've even livened up a little bit. I've got a bit of energy back for the call now. Russell wasn't looking good for a while, my friend.
Well, here's Bailey Dickinson. Opportunity to send it back to Jack Green. There's been another goal at the AIS, and it's another goal for Canberra, Croatia. They are running riot against Tuggeranong United this afternoon. Inside the opening 12 minutes, they've scored 3 times.
I don't understand it.
Well, we'll have to wait and see till half-time and see what's going on with the goal scorers and how they're going in.
It is football. I thought when I watched those two teams play in the cup round, I thought Tuggeranong set up a bit too defensively. I don't know how they've set up today.
Well, judging by the way that they've started here, probably with nobody at the back, mate, it would seem like that way.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Well, it's not ideal, but Canberra, Croatia, well, if there was any doubt about their response to the gap being cut to 3, I think they've well and truly told everybody about that inside the first 12 minutes. What a start to the contest over at the AIS. Robertson looking to scream forwards here.
I know it's football, but I don't get it and I don't understand it. But I'm sure going to go home and watch the video, the replay of the match tonight, Russ.
But isn't that football? It's not understandable. Sometimes you just don't know what's going on.
Could Tuggeranong end up winning that game?
Well, who knows? You've seen worse things before. We've seen teams come back from 4 goals down. I remember Newcastle Arsenal once in the Premier League was 4-0. There's one in our local competition the other week. Brindabella Blues were 4-0 up at half-time.
Weren't AC Milan 3-0 up against Liverpool?
They drew 3-3 and lost on penalties. Yeah, there's plenty of examples. Dylan Deep Jones sends it forward. Mumford thought about coming and then thought better of it. Manda's ball's not going to hurt anyone. Trajkovski away.
I tell you, if Manda's ball was a bit better there, Mumford was in trouble. And
Gunners are on a 3-match winning streak. They hadn't won for 4 in succession prior to that. Young AJ has played 4 Premier League games for Gungahlin. Now this is his 4th, and he's had 4 different numbers. Needs to pick him one. Foul against the Panthers.
He's had 4 different numbers.
4 different numbers, yeah.
As in what's on his back?
Yeah, and what's on his back, yeah. I've seen him wear 35, 30, and now 40. Pick a number, son.
Well, was he not given a number, or do you not get given numbers?
Well, he only signs halfway through the year, so I'm assuming...
But still, you would be given a number. Maybe he might like mixing it up.
I've seen Thomas Robertson wear several numbers this season. He's got another one on today as well. Well, he's got his 26 on, that's okay. There's Angus Bailey, back for Trajkovski. Bailey again. That wind's thankfully dropped away. Beautiful winter's afternoon now.
It's almost a perfect afternoon for football. The wind was blowing a gale before, but as you said, it's gone. And looking forward to a good game of football here. I think Monaro have started a little bit the better of the two sides.
Touch was from Daddario. It's worked this way to Shockey. Yoshida Shockey, the playmaker, tries to skip his way through. Wants a free kick. He's going to get one as well in a very presentable position for Gungahlin United. This within shooting range for the hosts.
The soft from here, but young man did well. Yeah.
Well, Shockey might fancy this. Gary Memitage in goal today in favour of Heath Illich. Gary Memitage for the 3rd time this season. Yoshida Shockey, well, he has 4 goals in the league, 5 in all competitions. He can strike a dead ball.
What's his record in Japan?
Oh, who knows? I didn't know a lot about him until he came here. We'll see what he's got with this. I've seen him strike good free kicks this year, and there's an inviting gap over that wall for Shockey. Memitaj needs to be on his toes. It's Yoshida Shockey for the Gunners to swing one in and lacked the power really in the end, and it was a comfortable save for Memitaj. Direction was good, Andy. Power not so much.
Oh, look, it was on target. It was on target. You know, you make the keeper, you force him to make a save, which is the most important thing. You know, sometimes they spill them, and if you're in for a rebound, and you take advantage of it. So it lacked a little power, and probably a little bend on it, but you know, most importantly, he got it on target, and should do his confidence the world of good for the next one.
Kreskas finds Minot Smith at the other end. Barach up against Jack Green, back for Marco Gaia. Space outside for McLaren. Delivery's not bad. Tchaikovsky got a piece of it. Half away by McCloskey. Kreskas. Room out there for McLaren again. Good looking ball in for Manda. Flag goes up though against Fakedi Manda, and it will be a free kick for offsides. Getting some joy down that flank. A couple of quick-fire goals in the Women's Premier League at Deakin. Canberra Croatia 1, Canberra Olympic 1. Goal apiece there. It's been a goal in the Capital Premier League. Canberra Olympic 0, ANU 1. Canberra Olympic title chasing trail at home to the students. Good start for them. Canberra Olympic beaten at home by Brindabella Blues last week. A couple of goals at Melrose Synthetic as well. These unsurprising. West Canberra Wanderers 0, Belconnen United 2 in the National Women's Premier League. The Blue Devils continuing on their merry way. Still await the breakthrough here. Robertson finds Dickinson. Shockey. Angus Bailey. Robertson outside. Plenty of Panthers players back behind the ball. Patient build-up from Gungahlin. Loose touch from Bailey Dickinson. Seized upon by McLaren. Barach couldn't get it under control to give McLaren the return he wanted.
No, it was kind of came up upon him real quick and bounced it didn't favour him.
How's your eyesight with all these lines, Andy? There's lines everywhere on this pitch, everywhere you look.
Yeah, it looks a little bit...
It's like so many goal. There's a 10-metre line for Union, I think, for League. And Union, there's some red lines out there too. There's like two penalty areas to our right.
Well, it's an AFL ground to start off with.
Yeah, there's a bit of that on there too.
We've got a couple of football pitches on it, and looks like there's American football on it.
Bit of everything,
rugby league, rugby union, the whole lot. But having said that, there's a goal down this end and there's a goal down this end, and I can clearly see
we're playing
the
with
18-yard boxes.
We're all good.
Yeah. So
Dylan Deep Jones, that's not a good ball. Daddario.
The line markings and the pitch, for me, no excuse. Play football and play it well.
Shockey. Kimura's made the run. A great run too. It's Ayuma Kimura, and he's put it wide. A great chance for Kimura. The Japanese striker scored 3 goals in his last 2 matches. Well, he might well have had 4 in 3. I believe there was a touch by the keeper. It's a corner kick. It will go down as a good save.
Great move. A fantastic run and strike in the end. Just missed on the back of me saying just play good football.
It was simple and effective.
Yeah.
And Memitaj must have got a touch on it, because we will go for a corner kick. Put it down in the good save column. They've gone short. Shockey just jinks his way past Minor Smith. Delivery's not bad either. Memitaj grabbed hold. Gungahlin suddenly coming alive. Good take by Malolu. And then dawdled on it. Wanted too long to pick a pass. Minor Smith finds McLaren.
Tell you what, Barrach was on there. His mind, and Smith is able to get it out from under his feet. And then he was one-on-one.
That's something that these young players will learn when they get to this level, Andy, isn't it? That things happen just that little bit quicker.
Yeah, there's levels. There's levels at this as they come through the ranks.
Well, McLaren's found Barrach. Flag stays down, and Daniel Barrach does the rest, as he often does. Midway through the half, he's on to the score sheet once again. That's a dozen for the season, and the Panthers are in front.
And exactly what you were talking about, the levels and the expertise of someone like Daniel Barrach, who's been a star in this city for a long, long time and has scored many, many goals, and he's a natural goal scorer. For this level, prolific. His first touch was fantastic. There was only one thing on his mind, and he knew where he was going to put that ball. And Monaro lead, but they could have been. It could be 1-1. I'm been quite impressed by the two Japanese players for Gungahlin.
199 Premier League games, 105 Premier League goals. Daniel Barrach finishes with aplomb. And didn't he take it well? Just a little stab of the foot.
It was like you were saying before, do things quicker. That first touch needs to be a setup for a shot or a pass, or it needs to be a shot itself. And then the first touch from Daniel was sublime. He knew exactly what he was doing all the time, and I would expect nothing less from one of the nation's capitals, one of the most prolific goal scorers in this city's history.
Meanwhile, Shockey has found Daddario looking for an immediate response. Didn't quite come off with the cross. Christian Kreskus, just after they created the best chance of the game, as you mentioned.
Well, they should have been 1-0 up. They're 1-0 down now, and that's football. We were banging on earlier about Tuggeranong conceding 3 in the first 12-15 minutes or something, and it is football. Whether it's good or bad at times, it's a game of opinions. But this is still a very even game here, and from what I've seen so far, both teams have enough weaponry on the pitch for us to see some more goals.
Daddario wins it back. Can't squeeze it past Marco Gaia. Fernando's lofted ball invites Barrach wide again. Coming together with Jack Green. Nothing doing, says Bruno Kell, our match official. Didn't mention who he was beforehand. Our assistants are Caleb Lawrence and Kevin Green today, amongst all the pre-match. Tidy finish, as we mentioned, from Daniel Barrach, leading goal scorer in the Premier League. Depending on what's going on elsewhere, of course. Balcony United have added to their tally at Melrose Synthetic. It's West Canberra Wanderers 0, Balcony United 3 is for Keddy Manda. Little nutmeg on McCloskey. Green's got rid of that. Meanwhile, Majorally are behind at Tuggeranong. Mentioned the game at AIS. It's slowed down a bit there. Tuggeranong 0, Canberra Croatia 3. All 3 goals in the first 12 minutes. For the visitors, here's Fernando. Good day for the away teams at the moment, Andy. Away team winning here, away team winning at the AIS. 2 of the away teams ahead in the Women's Premier League in the 3 games, and ANU away at Olympic, they're ahead as well.
As we said, football's a funny game, and we'll see how it ends up.
Daddario back for Robertson, but Barrach sharp. Trying to force his way through, can't quite do so. All being equal, Daniel Barrett's 200th game next week will be against the Tigers in what will be a huge match at Strider Park next Saturday evening. Rusbakken, Manda, lovely chop back, and Rusbakken could send this across. Not his best ball in either. Tchaikovsky away. Malolu fighting with Deep Jones. McLaren picking up the pieces. Dario keeping Gaia honest. Fernando. Panthers have dealt in the main very well with anything that's come forward. They've looked at physically stronger outfits.
Except for that one chance. They have...
Coincidentally or not, Andy, that the one time they haven't looked to create a physical challenge. They played it on the floor.
Yeah, but you're right. They're controlling the game. They're controlling the physical battle so far, the duels.
Here they come again with Minot Smith to pull it back towards Crescus, but there was Bailey Dickinson. But you mentioned it, they've seen the way through. The little runs into the channels. Like that.
Look, I think Gungahlin on the break here is still very, very dangerous.
Malolu from Dario into the penalty area. Deep Jones is his shadow and gets rid of it. Not only gets rid of it, finds Crescus. Look at the numbers. Marco Gaia. Panthers streaming forward. Crescus to his left. That's where it's gone. Forced him rather wide. And they've not made the most of that, have the Monaro Panthers?
No, they had numbers there and they had a great chance to at least get a strike on goal or the ball headed towards the goal, but no, it wasn't the best pass from Crescus. He'll know that too. But needed a little bit more softness.
Well, there didn't seem to be any real conviction with the way they broke there. It was 4-on-3. Marco Gaia perhaps not sure which way to go. Barac wanted it down the middle. Crescus wanted it wide and he sent him too wide.
And I think the man running with the ball just run at the last defender and run at him at pace. And, you know, you've got to force him out of where he wants to be. And then you create little 1-2s.
Yeah, could have kept going, really.
Yeah.
A touch from Didarius found Malolu. AJ Malolu wanted Shockey to go wide. Shockey wanted to come short, and in the end, nothing comes of it. 28 minutes of the first half gone. Daniel Barac's goal, the difference.
Both teams a little bit, kind of getting to either end and falling short a little bit on that final pass. You know, kind of that last final decision. Once they can execute that a little bit better today, either side, they'll score a few goals because both teams they're getting into positions where they're getting chances or they can create a good chance, and then the final ball, the final decision has not been cutting edge so far.
End of a long week of football in Canberra. Kanga Cup just wound up on Friday. 34 grand finals in the end at Southwell Park in Lynham. Deep Jones will send that, but Rosbacher won't get there. 355 teams was the total tally from around Australia, and a couple from abroad as well.
How many teams?
355 in the end.
Somebody made some money.
Yeah, it was a fair old amount of teams coming in.
That's good for Canberra.
And there was a fair bit on the waiting list as well. The economic benefits of this region is massive during Kanga Cup weekend in terms of hotel room nights and everybody else, you know, restaurants and activities and all that kind of thing that goes on in Canberra that this time of year is not necessarily the busiest.
Oh, look, it's wonderful for the city. You know, the city is it's crying out for an A-League men's to encompass an A-League women's side as well, and I think it's at the moment it's a silent giant, a silent grand football club.
Shockey's won it back and he's had a ping. Fancied it from distance, didn't trouble Memitage in goal. Coming up to the half-hour mark in this one. Canberra Croatia have the points all but secure in their game. Gungahlin White Eagles kicks off at 4:30 in the CPL. That match will be a pretty big one later on. Blue Devils dropped 5 points last week in a midweek draw and a weekend defeat, so they will look to get back to winning ways. Connor Minot-Smith to angle one towards Manda, who's peeled away beautifully here. Wondered if he thought about the Van Basten. Looking for Rosebucken, who's come on the overlap, and there's players queuing up on the far post. Tchaikovsky away. Manda's there again. They're knocking on the door for 2. Green only as far as Straub. Barach swept away by Daddario. Deep Jones too strong for Shockey. Barach layoff didn't quite come off, and now Jack Green can lollop forward as he loves to do. Shockey cuts inside nicely. Ball was for Daddario. Really important header that from Tchaikovsky, wasn't it, at the other end, Andy? Otherwise, either Daniel Barrett or Christian Kreskas might have been nodding in a seconds.
Very, very important. It looked like 2-0 there for a minute. Again, it was good defending. Ball could have been a little better, but
they're carving through the Gungahlin midfield at the moment, almost with impunity. Dickinson can send it the other way. Now it's 4-on-3 in favour of Gunners. Shockey. Pass wasn't good enough in the first instance to him, sent him backwards, and that break comes to nothing.
It's been Gungahlin's problem all afternoon so far. They are under the cosh a little bit. I don't think they're taking control of midfield. The times they do break, they look a little dangerous, but that final decision, that final ball, isn't quite there yet. If they do that, then there's no doubt they can score a goal or 2. But at the moment, when Monaro attack, they kind of seem to be the team that are going to score next.
Jack Green for the hosts. Playing into the wind in the first half. Looking for Daddario over the top. Malolu. Back for Daddario. Will bounce off for a Panthers goal kick. No canteen here today, which is probably a shame for Gunners, because they would have made a few bob, I think. A lot of people around.
Do they never have a canteen?
It seems to be off and on with them. I haven't seen one today. Maybe there's one around somewhere.
Yeah, it's a good crowd. They would have made some cash today.
Hungry Jack's over the road. Spinning away and advancing. It was Minor Smith for Manda, looking to return it for Barach. That's brilliant. They've carved them open again. For Kenny Manda provides the ammunition, and Daniel Barach fires the bullets. He's got another, and the Panthers are 2 to the good.
Very simple play, to be honest with you. Out wide, early ball in. Daniel Barach doing what he does best. He scores goals, he gets himself in just the right positions. Very hard to mark. But the ball in was first time exquisite, and Gungahlin are going to have to be careful. Monaro are on the ascendancy here, and they've certainly had chances before this one, and I don't think that'll be Monaro's last goal for the afternoon.
Once again, it was all too easy. Minor Smith found Manda, Manda found Barach, Barach found the back of the nets. The Panthers are closing in already. There's been a goal at Olympic. Canberra Olympic 1, ANU 1, equaliser for the hosts in the CPL.
That goal, if I look back at it, that goal was made by Connor Minor Smith earlier on. It was a fantastic turn. He opened up the whole game for Monaro there.
Beautiful ball in, begging to be finished by the centre forward, who obliged. Daniel Barach does not miss those chances. Marco Gaia, Kreskas, Barach, they're rediscovering the form that swept the league apart in the first few weeks of the season. They look hungry for more. Lovely ball from Kreskas. Barach might have come back off him last. In fact, he might have going to nick off Tchaikovsky. It will be a corner kick.
They're looking for more, Monaro.
Well, Gunners, it's imperative they don't concede a third, Andy. At 2, they're still in with the shout of the contest. 3, it might be game over.
3 will make it very, very difficult, especially the way they're playing. Don't seem to have anything up front right now where it can be played to and it stick. It's just
their French goal scorer got 4 against Croatia at Beacon has now departed the club after 3 games.
Where's he gone?
Back to France, I think. In towards Deep Jones, who's won the header. It's going to be in the mixer again. No one's dealing with this from a point of view, and Manda just lashes it through the crowd. And Gungalin's defence was all over the place, and Monaro Panthers are helping themselves to plenty. For Kenny Manda makes it 3-0.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. They're dominating in all areas now, Monaro Panthers, and they're making a statement because a good win today. They're on the tail of Tigers and Canberra, Croatia, and like I said earlier on in the call, there's a B-League championship at the end of this season where I believe the winner of the Canberra Premiership gets to play in. So that's a big carrot, to be dangled out there, and it's a great thing for a club from Canberra to play in that league. I think it's so everybody, if you can't get up for the next remaining games of the season and want to play in that league as a player, as a club, as a coaching staff, then you're in the wrong game, because that's where it's at.
It's going to be a good competition to be involved in. The winners of the ACT Capital Football Premier League will play the winners of the New South Wales Premier League, plus Avondale, plus Preston Lions, home and away. Some big games in store at the moment. Gungahlin United are being ripped apart here. Not what the home fans came to see. So 2 Premier League games underway, 2 teams away from home, both winning by 3-0.
And I haven't, obviously we've got no video of the Canberra Croatia Tuggeranong one, but certainly here the scoreline is favouring the team that are winning the duels at the moment.
Dickinson,
and
pass wasn't good enough.
No, it's those small details become big details, and the great players you'll find are excellent, in the simple things.
There's a card coming out here for Bailey Dickinson. Had an arm across his man. It's his 5th yellow card of the season. At the moment, it seems to be the only way they can stop the Panthers from going through the gears is illegally so. 7 minutes to the interval. Dylan Deep Jones, whose header caused consternation in the back line. The Gunners could not clear it, and when it fell to Kenny Manda, he cracked it through the crowd. Rosbach and Manda again. Straub. Rosbach and back for Deep Jones. Good ball forward to Barach. Manda couldn't find its way through Bailey. Kimura, who had the chance at 0-0. A bit like the game I saw yesterday with Ugali, there was an opportunity for Daniel Galich, which was superbly cleared off the line by Jacob Donadell. The game spun on that moment, as football matches often do.
Defining moments in football matches are based on or a great opportunity for the other side.
Kimura had his chance, Memitaj denied him, and since then it's been all Panthers. Kreskus hugging the touchline, looking to deliver towards Manda, who's going to get there. T1 up for Minot Smith, wouldn't sit for the midfielder. Still won it back though. Straub. They are winning every 50-50, and sometimes they're winning the 60-40s.
They're winning all the duels, and it's no secret. Part of my job at the Mariners was to relay, during matches and at half-time, where we were with duels. And on every occasion, every win, it was usually 70-30 in our favour of duels won whenever we won matches. It's no secret. 65-35.
Well, you win the duels, you've got the ball, you can score goals. Kreskus has a go, almost caught Mumford out. You don't get many goals without the ball.
No. You know, when you don't have it, you know, you've got to get it back. You've got to pressure people. You've got to tackle people. You've got to win headers. When you get it, hold on to it. Don't give it away like that.
Yeah, Manda's won it back far too easily off Shockey. Minot Smith finds Straub. McLaren. Fernando. Monaro Panthers have scored 44 goals now in 15 Premier League games this season. McLaren. Truth is, they've got enough to have the points in the bag today already. McLaren again. Loving the wide open spaces of Gungahlin Enclosed. This is a big pitch. If you ever get to walk on it, and I think you've been on it yourself, Andy, it's very wide. Probably at the maximum regulations.
It is wide and it is a big pitch, but, you know, Gungahlin just, whenever they get the ball, they just give it away easily.
And they can't clear it here. Amanda's going to tee one up for Straub, who's rather scuffed his efforts.
You know, a better shot from Straub, which he's capable of, for example, would have, you know, could have made it 4-0. You know, they're giving away, Gungahlin giving away the ball too easily, and when they don't have it, you know, I'm going to ask myself a question: do you really want to get it back?
How about this from O'Connor Enclosed? Canberra Olympic 1, ANU 2. ANU back in front in the CPL. To say, Andy, it's looking more like 4 for Monaro than it is 3-1, isn't it?
Yep.
At the moment. And that's not good news for the home team. McLaren, look at the space that Minot Smith has got. Badach has peeled away and he's stayed on side here, despite the protestations, and his cross isn't good enough in the end.
Well, it's the basis and the platform for, you know, Gungahlin coach Caveat at half-time. You know, do we actually want the ball? Do we want to keep it? Do we want to get it when we don't have it? Do we want to do something with it? Do we, you know, want to fight for every ball? Are we warriors? Because at the moment, there's only one team that have wanted, you know, any kind of result so far in this match, and it's Monaro.
It's the team that's getting it, the team that's got the 3 points. As we stand, Canberra Croatia are on 36, Tigers are on 30, Monaro Panthers are on 29, Queanbeyan City on 4th on 20 points. Canberra Croatia will be pushing the gap out to 6 points, or maintaining it, I should say, after last week. Goal difference might be important at the end of the year. Canberra Croatia currently stands at plus 41. Tigers only plus 9, Panthers plus 27, so there's an extra point there for Canberra Croatia. Who've got a big cup match coming up on Wednesday the 30th of July. Deakin Stadium, tickets on sale now. Canberra Croatia versus Metro Stars from South Australia. The Australia Cup round of 32. Metro Stars very much in a similar vein of form as Canberra Croatia. Be a big test for the Metro Stars, but a game in which Canberra Croatia will feel they can win it. Trajkovski, Robertson. Australia Cup, of course, always a great addition to the calendar. Metro Stars skipper, and he is Fabian Barbiero, a name you might be familiar with, of course.
Fabian Barbiero.
Like a former Socceroo, playing down in the NPL, South Australia. Looking forward to seeing them come up. They're under 13s or under 12s were in the Kanga Cup this week and did very well, got to the final.
Excuse my ignorance, Fabian Barbiero was a Socceroo at some stage?
I think he was, yeah. Had a couple of caps.
Did he? Who did he play for?
Australia.
Yes, I know, but
I think Adelaide United, I believe.
Did he?
Fabian
Barbiero.
Yeah. Manda inside to Minot Smith. McCloskey back to Mumford as we come up to the half-time whistle. 10 seconds or so plus stoppage time to go.
If it's true, excuse my ignorance, Fabian.
Yeah, I'm sure I wrote about something like that in the week. Okay. That's a foul by Deep Jones on Chucky, but advantage will be played. Robertson can't find his way past Gaia. Gungahlin United will be happy to get into the changing rooms. Javier Roca, I'm sure, will have a few words to say. Half-time at O'Connor, Camp Olympic 1, NU 2. That one at the Invincible in the CPL. Shockey with a very cheap foul. This one not far from the Invincible. And the first half that Paul McCaw and his coaching staff would have been dreaming of. A comfortable trip to Gungahlin Enclosed. Half-time at AIS. All the damage done in the first 12 minutes. Tuggeranong 0, Canberra Croatia 3. Malaulu's ball forward, caught by Kreskas. Gunners will end the half with a free kick and a chance to maybe force the way onto the scoreboard.
That was better though. They won the ball and they attacked quickly, they broke quickly. Great play from AJ, got himself a foul, and that's what they got to do more of. I said earlier in the start of the game, I thought they were, it was almost looked like slow motion, and they still look a little bit like they're in slow motion, Gungahlin, except for the one or two little occasions that they've broken quickly. But they need to get the ball, they need to keep the ball,
Well, last chance of the half.
and value it more.
Shockey descended in, and it sums up the opening 45 minutes from their point of view. Not good enough from Rashida Shockey. We're into stoppage time, of which there'll be a couple of minutes. I don't know if there was a card dished out for that free kick. I'm not sure. Don't think there was.
Don't think so.
Maybe there was. We will check at half-time. Deep Jones launches one. Barach helps it on. Manda does likewise. Minot Smith can't get away from Trajkovski. Two players who were part of O'Connor Knights not too long ago.
Again, another stat that wouldn't be in. Well, I know what the stat would be. The second balls, Monaro are winning probably 70 to 80% of them.
They're probably winning every stat on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe corners. It was that run where Gunners had 3 or 4 in succession.
That's it.
Not that that often means much. They'll do for the first half. Andy Burnell, the first half in which Monaro Panthers, well, they have scored, and they've scored often. Daniel Barrett's got two in 12 minutes for him, just past the 21st minute and the 33rd. For Kenny Manda, 3 minutes later, lashed home the third. And at the break, Monaro Panthers are more than halfway towards 3 points, which will close the gap at the top of the table on those above them. Because at half-time here at Gungahlin Enclosed, it's Gungahlin United 0, Monaro Panthers 3.
how to press this Monaro/stereo.
Welcome back to Gungahlin Enclosed. I'm just going to turn myself down, Andy, because that is massively loud in my ears.
Too.
How's that for you? There you go. Welcome back to Gungahlin Enclosed. Nearly blew my own ears off there at half-time. Not sure what happened there. At half-time here, though, it's Gungahlin 0. Monaro Panthers 3. We're getting ready to start the second half. I'm going to have a look around in a moment to see if there's been any changes at the break. Give you some scores, though. In the Women's National Premier League, at half-time, Canberra Olympic 1, Canberra Croatia 1, West Canberra Wanderers 0, Balcony United 3. And have just started the second half at Ainsley, where Madura have just equalised. Madura 1, Tuggeranong United 1. Capital Premier League, Balcony versus White Eagles will kick off very soon. In the game that has started already, just into the second half, it's Canberra Olympic 1, ANU 3. ANU 3 1 up against Canberra Olympic. In the Men's Premier League, well, half-time at the AIS, Tuggeranong United 0, Canberra Croatia 3. Daniel Sparrow in the 8th minute, Max Green in the 9th minute, Ryan Keir in the 12th minute. Couple of assists for Thomas James, as per usual. Tony Spaseski with an assist as well. Thomas James now with 15 assists this season, which is ridiculous. And right here in front of us, Gungahlin 0, Monaro Panthers 3, Daniel Badach 21 and 33 minutes, Fakedi Manda 36. That's everyone up to date across where we are. Second half has just started the AIS. Andy Burnell is with me, Russ Gibbs. Andy, I can see that Stephen Domenici's on the pitch, having a kick around, it looks like, with Daniel Badach. So we'll find out who he's come on for.
Could spell more trouble for Gungahlin. He's one of the best players this city has ever seen.
Well, Christian Kreskus is not out there, so I'm going to assume that's him that's made way. And that's just what you want, isn't it, when you're 3-0 down at home? A guy that scored 183 Premier League goals just strolling off the bench.
Shows the Monaro strength in depth. And
doesn't look like there's any changes for Gunners, though.
no, but we're hoping there's improvement in their play this half, or else they'll concede a few more.
Do you know what? I'm hoping there's an improvement in the weather, because I'm not going to put the gloves on because it's getting a bit chilly here. Loads of kids on the field at half-time, wasn't there? Kicking around.
Yeah, it's good to see, actually.
Enjoying life.
Reminded me of the younger days where you went on and you had a kick as a kid at half-time.
Some of them might have got a game at the moment, the way this is playing. Gunners have scored 5 in 2 of the last 3 matches. They managed 13 in the last 3 games. That's more than they managed in the previous 10 combined. And they had conceded just twice in the last 2 games before today, having conceded 19 in the 5 minutes preceding that. They're on the ropes again here at the start of the second half. Fakedi Manda twisting and turning, can't find his way through. Malaulu. They'll want a better start to the second half, of course. I think they may have had a change here. The Gunners. We'll bring that to you in a moment anyway. Here's Daniel Badach with Connor Monett-Smith. They might have made a change. They haven't, I don't think. Anyway, yeah, they conceded a load, then conceded not many, and then they're back to conceding a load again. So,
look, I think they've got some good young players in there, and with Jack Green at the back, some fantastic experience. So, it's just about getting their game together. And
there's Malaulu looking to do just that. Dickinson picked off by McLaren, who can send Manda, who didn't want to chase it, I don't think. Panthers' win last week was their first in 3 outings. They dropped points in the previous 2 games. They scored at least 1 goal in each of their last 9 NPL matches. But the clean sheet against Croatia was the first they had managed since the round 10 win over Tuggeranong, so that will be a goal, I believe, for Game Hermitage, Paul McCaw and everybody else out there, is to keep a clean sheet again. You never want to concede goals at the best of times.
The Panthers are still a premiership threat and a grand final threat. They're a good side.
That's a good ball. Tchaikovsky's found Robertson. Chance for him to fizz that into the penalty area. Cleared by, I think, Max Melik at the back. He's come on as well. Snuck on there at full-back. There's 2 changes to the team. The right full back. Looks like he's on for Sam Rustbucken. Don't you love having no fourth officials? It's every week. Angus Bailey. Another good player to bring on, isn't it, Max Mullick? You mentioned they're a Premiership threat, Andy, Monaro Panthers. At this stage of the season, is it okay still to be a work in progress? Because I think that they've still got, not sure whether Paul McCall's got his best 11 in mind. I mean, it is a squad game these days.
No, I don't think...
Well, here's a chance, perhaps.
You know, any squad that has Stephen Dominici and Darach and now Connor Minot-Smith, and they've... they're experienced at the back. They're not a work in progress. I think, they need to be delivering, like they have so far in this game. And if I was in charge at Monaro, certainly I'd want them to deliver every week. It's they're like Canberra, Croatia. They like the Tigers. They want results. They're chasing titles. They're chasing a spot in the B League Championship. And look, you could say that about every team. That every team is a work in progress.
I mean, injuries and unavailability hamper you at times, but that's when your squad game comes into it, isn't it?
Oh, look, I think the better sides in this league have the stronger squads and more depth. But I wouldn't be wanting to be a work in progress. You're always a work in progress as such in terms of getting better and refining the little things that matter in football. But I think if you're at this point of the season, you're Monaro or you're Canberra, Croatia or your Tigers, and you don't know your first 11, then I think you've got a problem.
Talking of problems, Tuggeranong United have got one. They've just conceded a fourth at home to Canberra, Croatia. At the AIS, Tuggeranong United 0, Canberra, Croatia 4 in the National Premier League over there.
I've seen Tuggeranong at times, and they do lift for some games. They seem to go to war against Canberra, Croatia. When it's
not helped them that the game's at the AIS today rather than Canberra 2, to be honest. The surface over there probably favours Canberra, Croatia a little bit more than it would Tuggeranong.
I agree, but I saw them at home to Canberra, Croatia in the Cup, and they didn't even turn up.
No, they got spanked, didn't
they?
They
got spanked.
We were down there that time, 6-0.
You want...
The Shockey.
I haven't seen the game, but...
The Dario went down there. And, we saw the goals at half-time, didn't we? The first three, just too easy, wasn't it?
Just soft, easy, but easy, The goals are easy, but the lead-up play is easy,
Well, there's no excuse. We saw the two first goals, the Daniel Sparrow goal, and then straight away, off the kick-off, they've lost possession, and Max Green's on the end of a decent move to make it 2-0. It's a cardinal sin, isn't it?
No tackling, no tracking back. Everybody's in slow motion. Nobody picks up at corners or set pieces on the wrong side of people. And, it's too easy. But you look around at players and they're not demanding of each other.
Well, that's at the AIS, and Tuggeranong are trailing by 4-0 here. Gungahlin are down by 3. And not looking like they're going to make any inroads into it just yet. 7 minutes of the second half played.
I suppose my point is Canberra, Croatia over most games are going to beat Tuggeranong with the squads they have. But the times that I've seen those two teams go to battle and Canberra, Croatia really annihilate them, it's like Tuggeranong haven't turned up. At the very least, you turn up. Kick somebody, do something.
Yeah, Canberra, Croatia usually struggle away at Tuggeranong. This last couple of seasons, though, it's been fairly straightforward stuff for them. As it is for the Panthers right here at the moment. Gunners looking to change the narrative. Ball towards Robertson. Ricochets for Malolu. Hasn't been able to impose himself much this afternoon, but then again, nobody in a Gunner shirt has. Daniel Barrett certainly has. He's on a hat-trick. And he's found Manda. McCloskey got there first, though. Jack Green.
Well, the Panthers are comfortable now. They're sitting back. They can afford to sit back a little.
As I said in the first half, Andy, the job's done, isn't it? They've got the points in the bag at the moment. But for anything silly. And Memitaj may have come and gone. Didn't get hold of it. Luckily for him, there was no one in a gunner's shirt nearby.
Just as you said, something silly. I don't know whether that was silly or not from the keeper, but certainly got caught out a little bit.
Got away with one. Here's Gaia bursting forward. Robertson stuck to the task.
That's better. Get back and tackle people. And if the whole team start doing that and getting it down and playing.
A few of the crowd have gone home at half-time. I don't blame them because it is getting a bit cooler. And McLaren.
Well, besides being cooler, you can be 3-0 down, but...
I want to give a shout out here as well, Andy, in just a second, to another young Gungahlin United player by the name of Sukaman Singh from Gungahlin under-12s, and I'll tell you about him in just a second as Ryan Straub looks to get across. There will be a corner kick. Sukaman Singh played in the under-12 team for Gungahlin in the Kanka Cup final on Friday. Took a really nasty cut to the knee from a challenge, one of the deepest cuts that you'll ever see. It was almost down to the bone. It was horrible. Had to get an ambulance there, and the poor young lad missed the medal ceremony. His team were beaten in the final, but missed the medal ceremony, had to go to hospital for the cut on the knee. They're patching him up, so we wanted to give a shout out to Sukaman Singh. Hope you're recovering well, mate, and I hope you got your runners-up medal as well. I'm sure your team all will be gathering around him as well while he gets through that recovery.
He'll be right. It's moments like that and injuries like that that build character.
Swung in towards Fernando, who wins it in the near post, and Conor Minor-Smith says thank you very much from about a yard, criminally unmarked, and that is as easy as it gets. 10 minutes into the second half, Panthers home and host.
And back to my point, and that illustrates it, Russ. You said a lot of the crowd had started to go home at half time, and of course they are, because you see a team that is a team in disarray, to be honest with you. They're not. I'm sure Javier's got instructions for them as to who to pick up at corners and who to press and where to press and how to press, and unfortunately, none of them to this point are executing any of that.
That's 3 goals in 3 consecutive games for Conor Minor-Smith now. That's a good return for him. He's only ever scored 12 Premier League goals, and 3 of them have become in his last 3 games.
He's a kid that I worked with a few years ago before I went to the Mariners, and I wanted to take him to the Mariners, and I was forbidden to take him to the Mariners, but that's for another day and that's for another story. That's another story. He was a kid that I liked a lot, and I really believe if he had to come with me to the Mariners, he would have been in their A-League team by now.
But you asked for a bit of fight at the AIS, Andy. Maybe you're getting it. Tuggeranong United have got one back. Tuggeranong 1, Canberra Croatia 4. So a bit of fight there. Not sure who's got that. As Shockey goes driving through and looking for Daddario. Can he cut inside and get the shot away? Might ricochet in for Malolu. Doesn't quite. Bevan Foxall has got that goal. Max Green got the 4th for Canberra Croatia. Bevan Foxall's pulled one back for Tuggeranong United. Showing a bit of fight. Maybe all too little too late though.
I don't think Tuggeranong has got what they need. Another 4 goals.
Another 3 to get a point. Oh, come on. Got to live in hope. Gungahlin will be here, even though that hope is, along with Bob and No, is probably disappearing over the horizon.
It's comfortable now from an arrow.
Look at that from Fernando, just very easily past Malolu, and loads of space to walk into. Straub.
It's too easy. They all got too much time, too much space to play with.
Malolu looking for Daddario. Don't get on the end of that one. Big double header for you next Saturday afternoon. I'll be at Gungahlin Enclosed first for the Chivapi Derby. O'Connor Knights versus Canberra Croatia, and then off to Strider Park for the Battle of the Big Cats. Panthers Tigers, 2 massive games in the National Premier League next weekend. Angus Bailey to have a go. The women's big game next weekend, Belka Olympic, has been postponed till Wednesday the 20th of August. So there'll only be a couple of games in the Women's National Premier League next weekend. Queanbeyan off to Gungahlin next Sunday. Gungahlin United, well, they'll be making the trek south side, perhaps, to Canberra too, or maybe they'll be playing at the AS. We will find out for you, but that will be your Sunday afternoon offering just before tea time. Love a bit of Sunday afternoon football, then you get home and get a roast in, Andy.
Mate, nothing better.
Robertson blocked by Balach, comes out for Minot Smith. Balach might try getting behind here, but he's fouled Trajkovski. Got yourself a little perch there, mate.
I have, mate.
The old knee playing up.
The knee plays up in this weather. I need a new one. What'll happen?
Get one on eBay. Sell everything else, don't they?
Oh.
Don't get the Timu knee though, because that won't work.
No,
Here's Robertson.
They're not good?
Apparently not. Seen out by Minot Smith.
Every ground I go to, I get people saying that they'll leave one in their will for me.
I've seen you play a few times down the years, mate. You left a few players' legs and knees floating around grounds, didn't you?
Easy, Tiger. It was all...
all above board. This is loose for Daddario. Part of the game back then. McCloskey. Shockey. Used to be able to leave a couple in on people, didn't you? You used to get the first one for free.
It was standard. First 5-10 minutes, rarely would you get a yellow card. And on most occasions, your coach or team manager would instruct you to go through the winger or the number 10 or the centre forward.
Let them know you're there was usually the instruction, wasn't it? Free kick goes the way of the Gunners. Fernando penalised.
But let me tell you, Russ, if you gave it out, you had to...
got to be expected to take it, absolutely.
English game requires you, and in Spain as well, you're required to dish it out, but take it. So,
generally, you'd be taking it if you got after a flair player or two, or one of the forwards. You'd have to be wary of their opposition coming out of a go at you.
I've had some great battles with two chaps in particular, Vinnie Jones and Roy Keane. Some memorable battles there. And I didn't even start on them. I started on one of their teammates.
Yeah, that's the problem. Probably gave Scholesy a kick.
Yeah.
They looked after each other, didn't they?
Oh, 100%.
There's Malolu. Going to twist and turn, find his way through the gap that wasn't there. This game petering out. And there's still plenty of it to go. Half an hour or just under to play. Gunners 0, Panthers 4. Panthers warming up some subs earlier on. One of them was big Julian Smith, who's not been in action for quite some time, the centre-back. Good to see him back on an NPL field. Kimura had a quiet afternoon. Robertson, so effective last week, hasn't been able to influence the game as much this. Does find Kimura with a nice pass though, and he'll take on Gaia. And as if almost on cue, Andy, the two players said having a quiet afternoon almost provided.
Well, yeah, and we saw that early in the game. Gungahlin do have a few players that are capable of lighting this match up, but they've been quiet. But they've been forced into quietness.
Julian Smith's about to come on. He's down there in front of us. Bright orange boots on the halfway line.
Monaro all game have not allowed them to do anything. They've closed. Game's about time and space. And in most cases today, Monaro have been fantastic at denying time and space.
You would have played in games like this before anyway. You're 4-0 up away from home, half an hour or so to play. How hard is it to maintain that focus, to keep that clean sheet and say, well, this game's probably done and dusted, bar a miracle from the home team, but you've got to stay switched on?
Teams I've played with and managers that I've played with here and overseas, they wouldn't be content with 4-0 or 5-0 and 6-0.
We're going to see some changes. No hat-trick for Daniel Balash today. Nikos Kalfas comes on from him, which isn't too bad a replacement. Nikos Kalfas, the 146th NPL game of his career today. 41 goals under his belt. Scored a couple this season in the Cup already when he was at the Tigers. 2 in the league as well. AJ Malolu is replaced by Julian Smith, which will change to back 4 a little bit. Tchaikovsky will go into midfield. Smith forms that twin tower partnership with Jack Green. He's a big size, isn't he, Smith? Almost a Jack Green clone there with his boots as well. The way he plays is very similar. Good to see him back though from injury. First thing he's got to do is take on Nikos Kalfas.
That should be a good battle, actually. I thought Nikos was still at Tigers.
He made the switch in the winter window.
But then I remember we're in Canberra and people just swap clubs whenever they want. So
that's it, within the June window. Yeah. Well, not whenever they want. It has to be within the transfer period, but I know what you mean. See, it's easy to rack up quite a few clubs, isn't it? Get yourself a shirt collection.
Canberra's notorious for it.
It's what we get for being not a very big state. For those of you watching interstate, it takes about half hour to drive from top to bottom, which makes it quite an intriguing proposition. If you can transfer from one club to another, you're not exactly travelling very far, are you?
And you'll get players that swap clubs for $50 more a week.
The price of living these days, Andy. It's a couple of loaves of bread, isn't it? And a pint of milk. We're talking about kids in the first half. You know how hungry they get.
Yeah.
Eat you out of house and home. I don't know how many boxes of Cheerios we get through in my household. And that's just my son. Eats like an absolute trooper.
So I could offer your kid $50 more than he's getting wherever he's getting now.
Just spend it.
And he's mine.
He'll spend it on Cheerios, mate, for sure. Or lollies. Another goal at the AIS. Tuggeranong's glimpse of a comeback has been snuffed out. Canberra, Croatia have a 5th of the afternoon. Tuggeranong 1, Canberra, Croatia 5. And that, unfortunately for Tuggeranong, is going to be a long old afternoon because they've still got half an hour or so to go as well. And they've got themselves the 5th goal. That will be disappointing for Tuggeranong, is the amount of goals they've conceded this afternoon.
Well, I think if you look at their all their games against Canberra, Croatia, are you able to give me a tally of that? Is it like...
Well, they got, there's 6 in the Cup, wasn't there? And there was 4 in the league. I think Thomas James, just by the by, has got the 5th goal to add to his couple of assists at least that we know he's got. Another productive afternoon for him. Shelling peas for Thomas James.
I love Thomas, and I think he's a fantastic player too. Too good for this league. It seems like he's out for a picnic every weekend and then scores 1, 2, sets goals up.
He's playing with a smile on his face this year, and he looks like a different player. That's going to be your touch, Andy.
And when I watch him play, it's like opposition teams are scared to go near him.
I just don't think they can get near him,
well,
mate. Maybe they're not good enough.
If I was a 16, 17-year-old Andy Brunel, I'd almost take it upon myself as a challenge. I'm going to keep Thomas James quiet today. Whether I did or not is a different thing.
Yeah, Queanbeyan City managed it quite well in the Cup final.
It's a mindset that I think more young players in this city need to embrace.
Here's Smith from the back, finds Tchaikovsky, back for the big fella again. That's a shirt pull by Fakedi Manda, not a very subtle one. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, embrace the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to. If you want to improve. Like I said, Queen City did it very well in the cup final. They just the right side of the legality, but it was very much what you were talking about earlier. Letting him know you were there. There was a few kicks on him, so he couldn't get into stride.
Well, it's been a product of this match. Gungahlin, where are we at now? 4 or 5?
4-0.
4-0. They're 4-0 down because they haven't won a challenge. They haven't won a duel. They get the ball and give it away.
McCloskey's got it here, and just on cue, almost gives it away. Smith finds green. Is there anything for the home side and the home support?
And it's hard for them now because Monaro just have to sit back and wait for mistakes exactly like that.
And now they might pounce with Straub. Kalfas thought about releasing Manda, probably should have. Battling to win it back with Tchaikovsky, a little too handsy for Bruno Kell. Angus Bailey can find Yoshida Shoki. The Dario's gone to the left. That's where the ball's gone. Up against Melik, and then again, sloppy ball. Deep Jones' touch wasn't great either. We're going to see Giuseppe Tyne, the last of the Panthers' outfield subs. 4 goals this season for him as well. And he's come on for Fakedi Manda, who's wandered off over on that far side. Goal and assist for Fakedi Manda this afternoon. Good afternoon's work for the winger. Got the long walk around now, hasn't he?
I think that's just his normal strut. I think he's cool for cats.
Job's done, mate.
Yeah, mate.
He's got a goal and assist to him, same. Got a bonus in his pocket, perhaps.
That's it.
And 3 points in the bag, near enough. 20 minutes to play. Then he goal of the second half, nodded in by Connor Minott-Smith, who somehow found himself unmarked in the 6-yard box off a corner. That'll be one for the defensive set-piece coach to have a look at, won't it? How on earth a midfielder manages to find himself free to nod a ball home from a couple of yards?
I think there'll be a lot of defensive analysis this week. You know, I like Javier. He's a good friend of mine, the Gungahlin coach, and you know, I don't think he leaves any stone unturned. It's just the players really today have just at times not turned up and not been willing to win those battles.
Kalfas off the bench, looking to impress.
Or unable to win those battles, and if you are unable to win those battles, get stronger, get faster, get quicker, get more aggressive. Okay.
That's better from Bailey Dickinson, but Kalfas still somehow has come away with the ball. That sums up the game in a nutshell there. And Straub can send it wide for Minott-Smith. He'll take on the defence. He's got Tyne ahead of him as well, but blocked out. They've just started at McKellar. Belconnen versus White Eagles. Just the White Eagles, not West White Eagles that I'm talking about. Belconnen be the White Eagles. Just started 4:30 Premier League. Chance for Belconnen to increase their lead at the top with Canberra Olympic trailing 3-1 at home to ANU. Robertson runs into trouble. Latest in the Women's National Premier League. 20 minutes to go at Deakin. It's still Canberra, Croatia 1, Canberra Olympic 1. Over at Ainsley, it's a quarter of an hour to go there. It's Majura 2, Tuggeranong United 2. Bit of a goal fest for you there. And down at Melrose Synthetic with 14 minutes to play, it's West Canberra Wanderers 0, Belconnen United 4. Kimura. 4 goals here. 6 over at the AIS. Just another standard afternoon in the National Premier League, where defending is optional. Andy Burnell.
Wow, that was quite harsh. If I said that, I'd probably be Andy's the bad guy again. But,
the defenders love it.
Russ said it, so yeah.
It's all about the goals, mate. You know it's all about the goals.
And that's where we go wrong.
We had a very, very quiet game that day in terms of goals. Yesterday, only the 3. This afternoon, it's all been made up for.
That's where, and I'll be controversial, and that's where development in this city has gone wrong for a long time, because the greatest teams in the world base
on defence.
Their whole philosophy on not conceding. If you don't concede, you don't lose a game.
Well, Panthers haven't conceded today here. They've got it right at both ends of the park. Stephen Dominici wins it back. Minus Smith.
Just way too easy.
Straub finds McLaren. Ball wide here for Kalfas. Melik on the overlap. This is a lovely move, this, for the Panthers. It's Melik across, and he almost found Giuseppe Tyne. That was good stuff from Monaro. From front to back. Mind you, it's been like that in the National Premier League for a while. There tends to be some games which blow out. We don't get many narrow scoring wins. It's just not the way it's done.
Just all out attack, mate. And whatever will be, will be.
Yeah, well. Throw caution to the wind and see what happens. What can they do with this set piece? Delivery's not bad into the area. Crowded box. Gungahlin do deal with it. Only just. Zach McLean's won it back, and legally so, says Bruno Kell. Not sure Paul McCaw agreed with that. There's been another goal at the AIS. It's falling apart for Tuggeranong. Tuggeranong 1, Canberra, Croatia 6. That will be frustrating Mitch Stevens right about now, because there really is no need.
I've told Mitch before, actually. I think, you know, it's the same thing as here, you know, like you can set up your teams, you can practice all you want, you can do whatever, but you know, if you don't win your duels, if you don't track back, if you don't sprint back, if you don't, you know, go to war and try and get the better of your opponent as a team, individually and as a team, then you're not going to achieve anything.
Jane Ribbons come on for Ayumu Kimura. That goal over at the AIS, by the by, was a hat-trick for Max Green again. Yeah, another hat-trick for him. He's having some season in front of goal, but then again, not surprised. He's a very good finisher. When they signed him, I chatted with the coaching staff, and they were expecting 20-plus goals from him, and he's going to get near that. If you count his cup goals, he's already very much close to that.
He is a good finisher. I've watched him. There's one thing about him. He's a bit of a natural, you know, when it comes to finishing. I think for him the test is to get out of Canberra, become, you know, a better athlete. I'm not saying that he's not a good athlete, but, you know, become a better athlete as you go up the levels in this game, from ACT to A-League to Europe to wherever. The most noticeable thing is that even players of a similar ilk, of a similar technique, the ones that play in the higher divisions are the better athletes. So that's something for Max Green to work on if he wants to get out of here, because he can finish and he has a good football brain. Good
run this from the Gunners. Trajkowski exchange passes with Bailey Dickinson, denied by Memitaj. Half a chance for the home side, who were struggling to stay in the contest. Dominici slides into path, and Minot Smith, whose ball into the middle is too close to Mumford. Aidan Mumford, one of the best goalkeepers in the regions, conceded 39 times this season. Just goes to show that if your defence leaves you out to dry sometimes, not a lot you can do, is there? He's held his hand up to a couple that he'll admit was his fault this season, but not a lot you can do as a goalie sometimes.
No.
Minot Smith, challenge was from Dickinson. Bailey finds Green. Ball towards Shockey, who was always going to help that on, but to no one in particular.
These are the periods in the match, I think, that it's important for Monaro to still seek excellence in what they're doing. You know, if they want to challenge at the end of the season, win grand finals, and they're still in for the premiership. This is where you kind of almost get into a relaxed mode.
Well, since they went 4-0 up, Andy, it's been like this, hasn't it? Just knock the ball around. The game's done. Hasn't been a real intent to get a fifth. Memitage, that's a bit poor from him, didn't
it? It was done, but if you don't seek that excellence all the time, you then become mediocre.
Dominici looks to win it back and now can spring something forward. He's got Kaufas ahead of him, who went and then stopped, apologises. Perhaps Dominici took it one stride too long. Beautiful evening here in the north of Canberra. A few of the youngsters over there decided to start their own match, Andy.
Mate, it looks all right too. It's pretty exciting, and
it's in the sunshine as well.
It's
probably a bit warmer than where we are.
It's got a great background as well. Bunnings Warehouse.
The old Bunnings Warehouse, and that's a massive Bunnings Warehouse
mate,
as well.
Do you think they're still doing sausages?
Quick to get a sizzle over there.
Sausage sizzles, mate. Like, that'd really brighten my afternoon up.
A little cricket pavilion to our right as well, isn't there? The little green one. Shockey. Robertson. Ribbons touch for Shockey. Back for Dickinson. The wind howls around us here at the higher levels of the main grandstands. Tyne had a bit of a swing at Shockey there. Will get a free kick. Gungahlin can send Julian Smith up into the attack. Fair play to Gungahlin at 4-0 down. They have committed a fair few to this. 6 in the penalty area, 1 on the outside. Shockey to send it in. Dominici with a defensive header. Not often you say that. Minus Smith to spin away. Jack Green's touch was a little loose.
You know, you'd expect a bit better from the free kick as well. Just the first offender. You've got to clear that first offender.
It's a killer, isn't it? 6 to hit in the box.
You've got all your players that have gone in and you hit the first man. It's just not on.
He's a better player than that, Yoshida Shockey, as well. Maybe it's one of those afternoons where everything seems to be going wrong. Well, Jacob Kite is coming on here, which is interesting because Jacob Kite wasn't on my match card at the start of the game. It's been a goal. McKellar, Belconnen United lead against the White Eagles. Jacob Kite's on. Must have been a late change as well. He had 2 really good chances in the reserves, did Jacob Kite. Couldn't find the target. Here he is. Got 10 minutes to perhaps show us something. Good win from Marco Gaia.
See, but Gungahlin play didn't even challenge for that. So it's just balls going in the air. There's one team challenging. There's tackles to be made. One team, it's the only team that wants to win them. We can sit here and be Krieger all day, but it's just the honest truth, the reality of I'm sure Javier will go away from this and look at his team's performance and see what they need to rectify.
Won't be a video that many of them will want to watch.
No, but they should watch it
absolutely
and be told.
Learn and improve. Shockey blocked by McLaren, who's been busy again this afternoon, as he often is, the Panthers midfielder. They're going to go home with 3 points in the bag. They're going to go home having done their part of the bargain ahead of next week's match against the Tigers. They will close the gap. It will be a point again, as it was. They will increase the gap on their city partners, Monaro Panthers, Queanbeyan City, to 9 points from third to fourth. They will be on 29. There will be 1 behind Tigers, 7 off the top. Might be a bridge too far, first place, with the way Canberra Croatia managed to get their results, but you never know. Round 15 of 21. Here's Rippon. Good ball in from Bailey, and Yoshida Shockey wasn't far away from getting a touch. Quite possibly the best chance they've created all afternoon. Outside of the one for Kimura in the first half.
I've seen Cam Croatia play a few times this season, and they really are the standout so far in the league. But I haven't seen anybody really put pressure on them.
Well, Panthers turned them over last week.
Yeah, they did. It's one game in a whole season.
Yeah, Tigers beat them at the AS. They've been beaten 3 times. It's not a lot, but
if I was playing against them, I'd play a high press. 3-4 people pressing their back, 3-4, and then let's see what they do.
Probably knock it around you. Minus spin.
Well, you know, if they do knock it around you, your people pressing need to, you know, answer some questions.
Minus Smith does well to find Melek. 4 to hit in the penalty area here for Melek to pull it into the box. Bailey half away, will clear his own clearance and cleans out his own man. And that would have hurt them both. Head knock has to stop this. Bruno Kell. No real choice in the matter. Bit of friendly fire.
Would be interesting to see, though, wouldn't it?
I saw. Well, I'll give you an example. I saw O'Connor Knights press them high in the first 10 minutes at Deakin Stadium.
But have you seen O'Connor Knights press?
And then they conceded 9 times.
Yeah.
whilst it was good while it lasted for them, it didn't last very long. While this is going on, and a bit of injury, head injury, I can tell you that in stoppage time, Belconnen United are 4-0 up at Melrose Synthetic. They look like they're going to take the points comfortably. Madura lead Tuggeranong with a minute to go at Ainsley. Madura 3, Tuggeranong United 2. Over at Deakin Stadium in the big match, it's Canberra Croatia who lead Canberra Olympic by 2-1 with 7 minutes to play in that game in the Capital Premier League. Into stoppage time, Canberra Olympic 1, ANU 3 at O'Connor, and 15 minutes into the game at McKellar Park, Belconnen 1, White Eagles 0. The 2 Premier League games tonight. Well, you're watching this one. Panthers are 4-0 up, and over at the AS, Tuggeranong United 1, Canberra Croatia 6. That's a roundup of what's happening so far. I can tell you a couple of NPL 23 results from this morning while these players both get treatment in front of us. Tuggeranong United 4, Canberra Croatia 0. Big surprise there, having Tigers, who were top of that, got beat 4-1 by Queanbeyan City yesterday. Croatia in second, beaten 4-0 by Tuggeranong today. And at this venue it was Gungahlin 1, Monaro Panthers 2. Women's Premier League, Madura under 23s, Madura 5, reserves I should say, Madura 5, Tuggeranong United 2, West Canberra Wanderers 0, Belconnen United 6. That's all the goals, or is it? No, because there's another one at the AIS. Tuggeranong 1, Canberra Croatia 7. A 7th for Canberra Croatia. Maybe they're rediscovering some mojo ahead of their cup match in a couple of weeks. And that is an embarrassment for Tuggeranong United. They knew there might be a problem when they scored. It was Thomas James again, I think. He's bagged himself a brace. In the 88th minute. Couple for him, hat-trick for Max Green, loads of goals for Canberra Croatia. Huge amount of disappointment for Tuggeranong United, who will need to go again next week when they play Gungahlin. McLaren.
Thomas must love playing at this level. Let's go home every after every match thinking he's like Ronaldo.
Here goes Shockey. He's got away from Deep Jones. Yoshida Shockey to advance in on goal. Good first-time efforts and a decent save from Mehmet. Best we've seen from Gungahlin for a long time. Good pace, Andy, from Shockey.
Yeah,
Took it early, and Mehmet did well.
It was good pace, but the Monaro defence got back there, couldn't stop the shot, but did enough to make him shoot on an angle, which allowed the keeper to get down and make a good save. And it's those little bits and pieces that will tell at the end of the season.
Ball swung in for the 9 men. Green gets up. We're only playing with 9 here because they're still getting treatment on the bench. Bailey Dickinson and Angus Bailey.
Are they coming back on, or is it...
Well, I don't know. It doesn't look like they are at the moment, does it?
No, it's like they've sat down and got a cigar out and don't fancy coming out for the rest of the game.
They're playing a 4-3-1 at the moment.
Mate, they could play any formation today. They wouldn't have won.
Well, it's not ideal that you're down to 2 players off. The head clash has meant that you can't go on. I wonder if I think they made the 3 changes in the 3 windows as well, so they can't actually make any more. Calfast looking to take advantage of the extra players. Munford did well to win it. Jacob Kite. Not much ahead of him, as you'd imagine, with a couple of players shy. Rippon's touched. 1 back. Here's Dylan Deep Jones. They'll be absolutely ropeable with Paul McCaw if his team conceded playing 11v9. I guess, though, Andy, at this stage of the game with less than a minute to go and you're down 4-0, if you're Javier Roca, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Oh, look.
May as well safety first with those 2.
Yep. For Monaro, I think second half have been in third gear at best.
The game was won a long time ago, in fairness.
Yeah. They're still trying to do the right things. Keep the ball. Could they be better? Possibly, yes. It's these minutes and these times in games where you've got to still see.
Can they finish with a 5th? Yes. They might do, or they should have. Connor Minot-Smith skewed it over the bar. There's been another goal at O'Connor Enclosed. Canberra Olympic 1, ANU 4. Falling apart for Canberra Olympic in their bid for promotion to the Premier League. Beaten at home last week, beaten at home this week.
Jeez, a lot of teams losing, mate. I could become a coach again.
a lot of goals going in at this stage of the game as well. It's finished at the AIS. Thank goodness for Tuggeranong United. Tuggeranong United 1, Canberra Croatia 7. Didn't add on much stoppage time there. Perhaps the mercy rule was brought into effect.
I think lucky for coaches as well that there is a mercy rule, because this was England or Europe. 3/4 of them would be sacked by now.
Yeah, there'd be few on the bin.
Mate.
Match has finished at O'Connor Enclosed. It's 3 points for ANU in the Capital Premier League. O'Connor Enclosed finished Canberra Olympic 1, ANU 4. Marco Gaia winning the death throes of this one into stoppage time, waiting for it all to finish. We've had a couple of minutes of it played. Here's Stephen Dominici. Marco Gaia finishing the game with 9, not because of anything untoward. A couple of players with a head knock taken off. Stephen Dominici. That'll do, says Bruno Kell and Andy Burnell. As we mentioned, this game was done and dusted a long time ago in the first half. All the damage done in the opening 45 minutes. Monaro Panthers cruising through the second half, added 1 to their tally through Connor Minot-Smith. Weren't at their 100% best. The Panthers didn't need to be in the end. No,
Gungahlin had an early chance at the start of the game to go 1-0 up. Didn't take that, and it all fell apart from there. And at the end of the day, they'll look back on it, and they didn't turn up. They didn't win the jewels, individually or as a team. And if you if that stat is not good, you know, you're not going to win football matches. And you know, every tackle, every header, every second ball, they were second best to, and that's highlighted in the score.
And it was done by the damage, as I mentioned in the first half. Daniel Barrett twice first off for Kenny Manning, made it 3. Connor Minott-Smith nodded in 10 minutes into the second half. After that, everyone took their feet off the gas and coasted on home. And it's the Panthers who've come away with a very easy victory here at Gungahlin Enclosed. The final score, Gungahlin United 0, Monaro Panthers 4.
Okay, there you go, mate. I'm going to get going. Me too. Get out of here. Okay, see you, Chair.